Hi, and welcome to Thursday Threads with Farm Chicks. I am Karen from Avalon Springs Farm, and I do this little weekly broadcast on Facebook Livestream along with two other indie dye artists. Dancing Leaf Farm went this morning, and Lisa Chuck of Flying Goat will go after me. Today I come to you with a couple of cool, fun things. First of all, I'm going to play a little game with you. I'm going to show you this little printout from a web page. It's the Maryland Food Bank, and it has nothing to do with the yarn sales, but I just thought it would be fun that if when people make a comment or say hello, do a thumbs up or a wave or make a comment. When I'm all done with my presentation today, I'll go down the line of comments and I'll count them, and for every comment I'll give $1 from Karen to the Maryland Food Bank. And that's just to get my participants to have some fun and engaged with me and not afraid to talk while we're online live streaming. And So I'm going to give it to the Maryland Food Bank, and now I'm going to give you something that you can talk about, cool, and in your comments. So if you comment, I've got these new yarns that I'm going to talk about, and they don't have color names yet. So they're part of what I'm going to talk about today. So if you can't think of anything else to say and you don't want to do a thumbs up or a wave, tell me what you think I should name these different yarns. All right, so there's a thought. I have a topic for today that I'm going to discuss with you, but let me start out with what I have on sale. So if you go to my website, avalonspringsfarm.com, there's a tab for the Farm Chicks, and under that tab are my specials that I do in association with this live stream. So I have 4 little combos today, and there's a reason that I actually did this today that ties in with all of my other little activities. So my 4 specials are, the first, this is Pendragon fingering yarn. Whoops! And because everything is all around donating to raising some funds for, oh, look, a cat here. Raising some funds for the Maryland Food Bank, I gave these little bundles, little names that have to do with like charity. So this one was called, number 1 is called Hope. And these are 2 yarns that go together. They're both Pendragon fingering, which means there's 555 yards in a 4-ounce skein. The fingering is like a number 1, which is super fine on the gauge. I suggest using needle sizes 1 to 3, and I think the stitches are maybe 27 to 32. And this is a super wash, so you can put it in the washing machine. So no matter how you are seeing this at home, I think these 2 colors go together. That this particular purple is inside this semi-solid is inside this variegated. My number 2 on special. Oh, you know what makes them special is that they're normally $27 a piece, but they're on, if you go to my website under this tab, for today, they're 20% off. So, oh, that's my number 3. So number 3 is called Help. And here, so these are just, this is a highly variegated yarn. Oh, you see my blue fingernails from doing dye work on the very skeins we're going to talk about later. And basically, I want to show you that this color is inside there a little bit in different shades, particularly the warm rosy one. And even a little bit of the green is in that green. So this one is more the semi-solid. It's kind of a tonally variegated one. And this is a big speckled. Okay, so here's the number 2. So we had 1 was Hope and 3 was Help. Number 2 is heart. And these are two cheerful little pinks with this one is speckled. But definitely this pink is inside this speckled one. And number 4 is called heal. Or, number 4 is heal. Because we're all healing from the pandemic. So we have hope, heart, help, and heal. And these are two purpley blues, kind of periwinkle colors that I thought integrated with each other. So those are my specials for the week. And and don't forget, you guys, if you comment, has anybody made any comments? Oh, not yet. Oh my goodness, I better hurry up and talk about the yarn. So, what I was going to talk about today was actually the problem of that last week when I had people over, I talked about what was it like to order yarn online and you're not there in person right now during everybody's shelter in place to actually see what it looks like to you. So I can do this as a whole presentation at another time, but I thought I would just kind of go over in general terms what I thought was going on when people have that problem and what I could do from my end to help. I can't do that without showing you the color wheel, and I'll show you that again. Everybody's aware that when they take a picture with their phone and then they look at that very same picture on their desktop or their laptop, you can see slight differences in the colors in those 3 digital devices. And you know that they're different because you're the person that took the picture, so you know what it looked like in real life. That problem is called color calibration. So I can give you 2 overarching reasons why that is sort of like an issue. So I would say that one of them is that when you're working on digital, instead of the primary colors, look, Jenny, zoom in. When you're talking about digital images, the primary colors in real life or that we see with our eyes are yellow and red and blue. But when they're electronically generated, like on your television or your phone or your camera, they're not. They're what we call RGB, which means red, and this sort of shade of green, which is connected to yellow, but it's green and blue. So there's a shift instantly from real world to the digital world because of that difference in what the primary colors are. And then there's a second one, and the second one here, Jenny, you can pan up. Well, or you can pan back. The second one is that digital devices have to have some starting point to program in all these colors into these, and it's a machine, so it has to work. So there's this kind of universal background color. Like, have you guys ever seen, you can pan up to me now, I guess. Have you ever been aware of when a news reporter or perhaps a weather person steps in front of another device and for a split second, they usually correct it really quickly, the person is moving in front of just a field of green or a field of blue? That's called universal background or universal green screen or blue screen. That's like an anchor point, so that color becomes 0. And that's why you can broadcast other things on top of it, because it's a 0 background. So even though to answer that issue of it would be a much more long and involved presentation, and who cares, I'm just saying that the net result of that issue is that people often find that this area, now zoom back onto our color wheel, that this area, if you're working from a device that has a universal blue as the starting point, you may see problems here, and in getting exact representations of what those colors are right around that. Or if you have a green screen background, as that's your device's 0 point, you may see more like on this side over here. So it means that things like turquoise or shades of bluey greens or shades of purpley blues often are very difficult to photograph. And if you're photographing yarn, really that's what we're conveying to you, is information about color.
Yeah.
So, hey, you guys, don't forget to, if you think of a name, text it in. Type it in. So, if you realize that, then all that even people like huge yarn manufacturers, like Lion Brand or Noro or somebody just ginormous, they have as much limitations on digitally reproducing color as a little guy like myself. I mean, some things are just, they are what they are. And no one can control all the devices or phones or manufacturers of phones or laptops or desktops that everybody's looking at this on. So even if you push out a color that you think is an accurate photo of what's in real life, that doesn't mean the receiver sees it that way. So I thought of 4 things I can do to help you on this issue. So the first one was email me, because if you were interested in getting, like, if you wanted to know, I paired these up so that I thought that they go together. But let's say you're interested in this skein of yarn, and you don't know, do you want to put it with this one or this one, or what else on this table will it go with? You can ask me. You can just hit the contact button or send me an email and say, hey Karen, send me some extra pictures of these yarns in context. Another one is you can have me do a virtual appointment with you. So if I do a virtual appointment with you, yes, I am operating on my phone, but I am not limited to stay still. So I could, if this yarn is in my shop studio and you want to know for sure what the color is, I can walk outside with my phone and show you what it looks like in that light or under a lamp in that light. So you're not like limited to just the picture that you see online. You can have me work with you to get a better feel for you to know what that color is. Local shoppers have 2 other choices that have to do with seeing the yarn in person. You can, right now during the pandemic, you can shop with me in person, and ultimately that is the correction for digital discrepancies, is get off digital, So there's 2 ways to shop with me in person. I can do some very limited appointments inside if we do the whole masking, social distancing, hand washing things, as long as it's like 1 or 2 people at a time and inside of an hour, so that I can, if somebody else comes, I can clean in between people and stuff like that. Or the other thing is, I just come out here, you tell me you're interested in fingering weight yarn, and I bring a bunch of fingering weight yarn. You know what's happening to Jenny?
There are a million little sweat bees that I'm trying not to show my hands swinging them away. I'm sorry, but I'm like, oh my God, I have to hold a phone. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So please don't worry if Jenny moves around. Jenny, I think you should just move around and I'll move with you.
No, it's fine. I'm good.
So, it's because you're so sweet. So anyway, so those are the 2 ways about appointment shopping. So I'm not, a true brick and mortar, or by no means like a Walmart or some big store, but I can do these like very limited in-person things. And then the other one is this very thing that we're doing right now. We are doing a video, live stream video, so that even if the colors are a little bit different, you're seeing the colors in context. And that brings me back to my very little specials. So you notice that when I started this morning, I said, you know, I can see this color inside this skein of yarn. So when you're online shopping and you're looking at one skein of yarn in this box, and then you go rifling through the website and you see another skein of yarn in another box, you want to know, do those two things go together? So the cool thing about this videoing is that I can actually do that part of it for you. Of course, it's not the same as the festivals and shows and in person, but like context helps. You might not see this pink exactly the way that I see this pink, but we can both say, hey, these two are integrated. They are coordinated, they match. So let's come back to my new yarn. Yay, new yarn. You see, this yarn doesn't even have any labels on it. But I did the dye work on this yarn. All of them have, they're little 2-pound batches, so even if I don't have the whole 2 pounds out there. I went in a direction so that you could get several solids and a speckled, and you could do whatever you want with combinations. Like, let's say, okay, so I want to show you that these 4 are totally related. This color is in there that you can see, but you can also see that that color is in there, and you can see that that color is in there. So, so they are really connected. Here's another one with even more of the turquoisey teal, so you can get that sensation. And then I went in a totally different color direction with these little happy guys right here, and I did the same thing. I made sure that the little green and the little blue, so this little light green, this one's harder to see online, but you can see that's actually that's in there, that's in there, that's in there. So whichever 3 solids you were interested in, there was a direction to take with the speckled. The last thing that I want to say too about showing people the color wheel is the idea behind what I think is happening when they order it offline and then they get it and it's not exactly what you want. So I think what happens is, if you order a yarn online, let's say you ordered this one, and I look at this as an aqua-y color. It is in between. This is a hard piece of paper to see, but this color of yarn is these 2 colors and white, you know, mixed together to get this shade. So the question is, when you're matching something up and you see it online, do you see it fall more here or more here? More here or more here? And when you get it, the shift happens. So let's say you want to match, let me see if I have, I wanted a color that's closer to something that's on the color wheel. Okay, let me just talk about this one, because this orange is so clearly in there as peach and as these tertiary colors. So you see that tertiary color in these 2 colors, and you want to match it up with something else. But if you are going to match it up, let's say with this one, and you know this comes from this side of the color wheel, you want a relationship between these 2 sides of the color wheel, and you don't want to be off. You don't want to get this peach and have it really be yellow, or get this peach and really have it be red, because if it's going to shift to this side or shift to that side, it's changing the relationship with the other skein of yarn. So that's why it matters that you actually can see them in context. That's why, which gets back to the idea of these little duos, or some of the things that we do together to make sure that the multiple skeins of yarns that you choose or pick out actually integrate with each other. So, that was my presentation for today. I can't believe I actually got to the end so suddenly. But really, that's really what I wanted to cover. And in all of these topics about color relationships, things I can do to help you shop for yarn, conversations I can have with you about color, please feel free to email me, use the contact button, Facebook me, Instagram me. I am here online now in today's world that you're not seeing me as much on shows. And again, until I go off the air, if you want to comment, I will send $1 to the Maryland Food Bank. Thank you everyone for participating today.